into the recording in 3, 2, 1. Greetings, everybody, and welcome back. Thank you for your patience. Rockland Rebel Radio is back in full force doing interviews, reviews, and all you can think of. So, here with us today, right before the show, is Prateek Poddar, singer-songwriter of the Boston area. He just has a single coming up, Kalamazoo, or just called The Gang's All Here in this release?
It's called The Gang's All Gone. Yeah.
Oh, The Gang's All Gone, my bad.
No worries, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He has a single, The Gang's All Gone, coming out February 22nd, and he has a full-length record he just finished recording.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be pretty sick, I think.
Well, thanks, man. That means a lot to hear.
Mm-hmm. But, all right, tell me a little bit about yourself, my friend. Tell me about, like, a little summation of your life story and, like, what you do in the scene specifically.
Oh, God, my
in your own
life
words.
story. Well, my parents had sex. No, I'm just kidding. But no, they actually did. Well, I have been a musician in the Boston music scene for the past close to 5 years. Yeah, it's coming up on 5 years. I have been doing the whole sad guy with guitar singer-songwriter thing for that length of time. Pretty much started writing songs at the start of that time. And yeah, I guess I'm not sure that I do anything particularly special within the scene. But I'm out here and I'm singing about things and I'm hoping that people are listening.
Honestly, I think you do something special just as being another voice in the scene and being someone that partakes in it, whether it be going to shows or actively working in just like making shows happen, whether it be like being an act, because I say being an act is just as important as being a patron, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I think like being a patron is like, you know, the biggest thing, because like the whole reason we're here and we're all doing what we do is, again, we're hoping someone will listen,
Yeah.
you know?
But also on like a little selfish level, like your artistic expression means a little bit more to the world, I think. Like if everyone didn't express themselves artistically, like it'd just be a boring place, you know?
That's true.
So you got your own little importance there, my friend.
Well, thanks, man.
Plus you're a dapper lad, so I think that counts for something too.
Thank you. I've finally just given in to buying pretty much most of my clothes from Goodwill, and it's like now I usually manage to avoid looking like a sleep-deprived zombie.
Honestly, like you make Goodwill work.
Dude, I'm telling you. It's like you walk into Goodwill, you can find at least like one thing you'll actually wear, which is honestly really nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so tell me a little bit about like what the process has been like historically for you to find where you are now musically.
Oh wow. You mean in terms of sort of like where I am with a specific record, or just like
Just in general, like give me like what made you go down this path of being a bluesy singer-songwriter? Like
just having music in the house. Yeah, I was really fortunate to grow up in a house that had a lot of music and to go to a really nice school system that really encouraged students to do a lot with music. So I kind of always, I always sang as a kid. I always, I joined the school band as soon as I was able. My dad had a crazy vinyl collection, so I was always listening to stuff. And then, I was a teenager in 2006. That's when YouTube launched, and suddenly, like, getting into music became just so much easier. I think it's kind of crazy now, like, that there are people on YouTube who haven't known it before it was tons of like really big established channels and like record labels and bands putting out their super produced videos. Cause I like part of what got me into so much music was like the early days of YouTube when it was people like taking crappy flip phone videos of themselves like playing guitar along to their songs. And like that did so much, for like me at the time, like, but yeah, I don't know what it was, but I just gravitated towards music and I always sought it out and I always tried to play it. And then I think I just kind of always wanted to do this, and it was just sort of a matter of just figuring that out for myself.
That's awesome. And recently you were nominated for a Boston Music Award, was it?
Yes, sir. Boston Music Award and a New England Music Award before that.
That's kick-ass, my dude. Like,
well, thanks, man.
Award-winning musician right here.
Well, award nominated.
That's just another step in the process, you know?
Yeah. One's got to happen before the other. Yeah.
Yeah. So what is going to be going into this full-length record that's supposed to be coming out this summer? Like, can you give me any deets about it? Like,
yeah, absolutely. So like you said, The Gang's All Gone is coming out on February 22nd, and that is the title track of this record, and the the single. The record is 6 songs in total. All recorded like pretty quickly. Probably within like the last. Probably within the last 4 or 5 months. And it's kind of like the first set of songs that I have a band on. I have an EP that I put out in 2016 that was all me solo, so just me and a guitar. And then I have a single that came out in 2017 that had a band on it. So this is going to be like my actual first set of songs that have tons of production and other musicians on it, and I'm just really excited to finally have that out in the world.
Definitely. I love seeing artists go from being solo performers to full band. Have a full band present behind them.
Yeah.
It's such a great experience because there's such a different dichotomy.
Yeah.
Matt Minigal, friend of Together Records, and he has certain songs that were just him solo. Then there's bonus tracks Lauren Jesse Moss off of his Guts EP, where it's a full band production from a whole band. And it just sounds so fun. Yeah. And then he also brings it into Justin's band Nervous.
Nice.
And it just sounds so nice to see the two different sides of him, the one that wants to shred on guitar and the one that wants to sing and be sad.
Yeah. No, I'm 100% with you, man. I grew up wanting to be a guitar player who shredded and stuff, and then when I got into writing songs, like you said, that dichotomy just sort of became the ultimate thing to me, just being able to write and sing these the amazing songs, and then also be able to get up in front of a band and have play the same songs but have it be loud and raucous and awesome.
It's a great experience.
Yeah.
So who was the producer that you worked with for this? I know you've told me this prior, but for purposes.
Yeah. So I have been lucky enough to work with 2 really great producers, George Woods and Patrick Hanlon. George Woods, for just give a little bit of background on him, he is a professor at Berkeley in their songwriting department. And he's a really awesome singer-songwriter and a really good teacher. I've also been lucky enough to count him as a friend and a mentor for the past few years. So when it came time to make another batch of songs, he was a sort of a natural choice, and someone I trusted with sort of looking over my songs and really making sure they were tight. So George played a huge role on sort of the front end of the record, making going through all the songs that I wanted to play, making sure that every line was as good as it could be, everything held up with just me and a guitar, and really just challenging me to write better. There were a couple of songs that he really liked, and even those he pointed out where they could be better, and I ended up changing them. But there were I would easily say more than half the record, the songs were okay starting out, but George is just you can do better than this, go home, change this, seriously do better. So that was a really big deal. Pat Hanlon was the guy who did a lot of the production and engineering and arranging. He played drums and also helped arrange some string section stuff and some of the backing vocal stuff too. He's a tremendously gifted musician and producer, has such good instinct and such good ears, and he just heard so many things when I brought him these songs. And he heard he heard many of the same things that I did, but he also heard a lot of things that I didn't, and that was what made working with him so great and so fun.
That's pretty awesome, dude.
Thanks, man.
So, how many songs have you written, just as kind of a precursor to this next question?
Oh God, just in total. Probably 15 or 20 that I play out. And then I'm probably sure maybe around 100, most of which have been thrown away. Yeah.
And so what what kind of makes you feel like this is a song I want to perform? This is a song that, you know, I just don't think is right for me. Is there like any sort of specific process to that, you think?
Yeah, I would say so. There's a lot of it starting out is like is instinct. So when I'm writing the song and when I finish the song, I generally have a pretty good idea of like I really want to play this in front of people. Or like I don't feel like this is good for a good representation of my work. I should probably throw it away. And then kind of past that, it all comes down to like playing in front of a crowd a couple of times and seeing what people think. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so I guess that's really the process.
Mm-hmm. Were there any songs in your catalog that you wanted to put on this upcoming record that you think that just couldn't work for whatever reason?
Yeah, I would say this particular record, I guess not so much because I was able to like really work on a lot of the songs and like like really get them to the point where I wanted to put them out. But I did attempt to record an EP in about the early half of 2017, and almost everything on that EP except for the one single I put out that year ended up getting axed. Mm-hmm. Just because, like, you know, listening back to the arrangements and the recordings and everything, I was like, oh no, I'm not happy with this at all.
The One Survivor was Springtime?
The One Survivor was Emma.
Oh, Emma, all right.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, because you said that was a 2017
Yep.
right?
Yeah. The song was written before that, but it was officially recorded and released in 2017. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I kind of like how Emma came out in the 2018 releases. I think in the 2017 release, where it was like a full band production, I think it got a little bogged down a little bit. So
yeah,
I like how in the springtime, not springtime, the Closet Sessions single that you released, like it just got a lot more focus, a lot more passion in there, a lot more just you and the guitar singing. I feel like certain songs that some people release work best in full band productions, and some work best solo performances, because there's a certain personal element you can lose when you like change your production style or you add an extra band to the rest of the song. Yeah, and I would say like I would agree with you on that. I think though that a lot of the improvement, most of the improvement that I hear anyway between those two versions is that in the acoustic version that I put out in 2018, I just gotten like a lot better at singing that song, and I'd sung it a million, like, you know, in front of people a million times. Mm-hmm. So I think the confidence and the experience there really did it. But that said, I do think there are definitely things on the 2017 full band arrangement that I would change. Some things that I would keep, but some things I would definitely take away. Yeah. And on the topic of your voice is very unique for like how you talk. It's like such a surprising thing, because I see, like, you're kind of a dork. You're a funny guy.
Yeah.
Like, you also seem really reserved, but then when you sing, you have like this really, I'd say, I don't know, just a really rich, deep voice that's almost really perfect for what you do.
Oh, thanks,
like,
man.
Something that I never would have like expected when I saw you playing at Thunder Road back in like, I think it was like November or something like that.
Yeah, November 2018.
Yeah, it was like a good time, by the way. Like,
oh, thanks for coming out, man.
No problem. And it was always awesome seeing people play live.
Yeah, man.
Now, is there anything special that you'd like to tell me about the single before it drops, or you want to keep that all to yourself? No, I'm happy to dish on the details, because like, this is something I'm incredibly proud of. The single's called "The Gang's All Gone." It's out on February 22nd. The single release show is that day at Encore Apparel Company in Boston, which is a really cool spot. It's a clothing store that is sort of themed around music, and to that end, they've started up a series of shows called Encore Hour, where they have local bands play in the store. So my single release show is going to be part of that, and I'm very excited about it. And it's going to also be live everywhere on sort of all platforms that day. So look for it in Spotify, iTunes, all that. And it's
I've been lucky enough to have a ton of amazing players on it. I mentioned earlier that Pat Hanlon, one of the fabulous producers I worked with, played drums on it. Another really great local band called Hawthorne sang the backing vocals on that song. And they sound so phenomenal, and I just love the way it came out.
That's awesome, dude. And now I've never really been to Encore Apparel, so can you tell me a little bit about the venue for like?
Yeah, it's a clothing store like right on Newbury Street, 303, and it's a nice it's a nice looking spot, but like relatively unassuming, and because it is your sort of your standard retail space, but the people who run the company and both the owners and the store manager, who I've been lucky enough to have a relationship with, they believe that their whole thing is just like, we like music a lot. That's why we started this. That's why the owners started this company in the first place, and that's why a lot of the people who work there. So they're very serious about bringing in like some really amazing local musicians to play shows just right in their store. And they've had loads of cool people. They've had Paper Citizen. They've had Carissa Johnson. There's plenty more shows scheduled until the end of February. As a matter of fact, they have one going on there tonight with a really cool local band I've known for a little while called Strawberry Machine. So there's... Yeah, their whole thing is just like they really want to support local music.
That's kick-ass, dude. Like, I never expected seeing like a clothing store become a like DIY music venue of sorts, but it's kind of cool seeing that all these businesses are really trying to reach out and create something for the local music scene. Yeah. Because like most of the time, all we really have are bar gigs and house shows.
Yep, 100%. I mean, like there's a good amount of clubs in Boston, but we've had a lot of clubs close within the past few years. We've had a lot of clubs open, which has been awesome, but it's definitely sobering. I've only been on the music scene for a few years, and there's some clubs that I've seen close in my time. I also know that I have some friends who've been in the Boston music scene for decades, and they've often grown up with particular clubs, like clubs that they've first started going to see shows at, and then a couple decades later have seen them close, which is a really emotional experience. So sort of within that kind of background, it's really, like you said, it's really nice to see a local business stepping up and opening another venue and another space for people to do shows.
Definitely. And I think that kind of brings everything to a close. So where can we find you on the internet, Prateek?
You can find me on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, all that stuff. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. Please follow me on those, because that's really the best way to stay updated on my shows, other than my website, which is prateeksongs.com, Prateek songs.com. So search for me online, and yeah.
It's pretty kick-ass. And you can also find Prateek on Patreon.
Yes, sir.
And one really cool thing I saw that you did on Patreon was you released a 7-inch of a certain song.
Yeah. So I'm recently got onto Patreon, and so for those of you who don't know, it's basically it's kind of like a lot of crowdfunding sites like Kickstarter, Indiegogo go by project. Patreon kind of operates under the concept, what if we just had this whole thing running all the time, and people could constantly contribute an amount of their choice every month to their favorite artists. And so much like Indiegogo or Kickstarter, you get rewards depending on how much you contribute. And one of my rewards was a custom-made 7-inch vinyl records. They're made by a company called Least of All in Brooklyn, New York. And they're very cool because the whole thing is that it's live vinyl recording. So you go in, you play a song, and it's recorded to vinyl in real time. They take it off the lathe, slap down another record, you play another song, gets recorded in real time. So basically, it's each take is it's literally completely unique and literally the only one of its kind.
That's amazing. Actually, not sure if you're familiar with them, but the local artist Friendly Dog, they ended up doing something
I've heard that name.
Similar.
Yeah.
It was like really cool kind of hearing that, especially when they released it as a single, because it like added a lot of the grain and natural effects from the vinyl. Like really added a nice like element and just created a really cool atmosphere. Almost going back to like 70s folk punk in a way.
Oh yeah, and it's the even earlier than that, because like a lot of they do Least of All and a lot of other places that are doing similar things go with lathe cut vinyl, which is like really old school stuff that's like 50s 60s, I think possibly even earlier. So it sounds like, it doesn't even sound like your dad's records or your mom's records, it sounds like your grandparents' records, and it's really cool.
That is pretty damn cool, dude.
Yeah,
but yeah, you can find Prateek on Patreon. Do you have the link for that handy?
It's patreon.com/prateekmusic.
All right, awesome. And you can find us here on YouTube, Rockland Rebel Radio. I think it's bit.ly/Rockland Rebel Radio. You can find us on Twitter at RocklandRR. You can find us on Facebook, Rockland Rebel Radio. And yeah, come through. I am announcing shows almost very regularly. And it'd be awesome to see all new people coming through these shows here at the Puzzle Factory. But I'd just like to thank you, Prateek, for being one of the headliners of tonight. And I can't wait for how this show's going to turn out.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
It's awesome. And yeah, I will catch you folks next time with some reviews, hopefully very soon. But until then, take care.